Hello, sir. Welcome to India.
Thank you.
Sir, is this your first time that you are coming to India?
I've been in India in New Delhi, but I think it's 15 years ago. It was a workshop, I think, for the Alliance Française. I worked with Indian comic book artists for like a week. It was a lot of fun.
That's interesting, sir. Sir, what are your plans regarding this visit after you are done with the Comic Con?
Well, the Comic Con was the most important thing. And after that, since I came with my wife, we have decided to spend a week after. So we'll go around Mumbai, maybe go to Goa. We're not sure yet. We're not very good at planning. So we're going to improvise the whole week in front of us.
Yes, sir. Sounds interesting. Sir, I have been reading your books a while now, and you have traveled to so many places around the world. I mean, half of your books, most of your books rather, are travelogues like Pyongyang, Burma Chronicles, Shenzhen. So, sir, can you tell me about some story which you would have wanted to make it into these books, but left out? I mean, some incident that you wanted to put into these books, but didn't end up.
Well, most of the stuff I want to put in the book are in the books. I just have to be careful because I don't want to mention names and put people in difficult situation. Because North Korea, I mean, it's a dictatorship. If I put these guys that I was with in a difficult situation, I mean, they can be in big trouble. Same with Burma, which is very strict country. So the stuff I didn't put in books was more of security stuff that could put them in a difficult position. Mm.
I really like the stranger in a strange land approach and the humor that you put into each and every book except hostage. Okay, I really like that aspect. So I wanted to ask you, in Jerusalem, in the book Jerusalem, you write about wanting to go out and sketch, and a couple of unsuccessful attempts, and finally you get to go out and draw. Do you do a lot of on the spot drawing?
At that time, yes, because I was not working on any comic books, and I always have the feeling to draw. So I go out and I do sketch, which I enjoy a lot. And when you do sketches, you encounter people that come at you, that talk to you, or in Israel that say you're not supposed to be here because it's a military zone, and all sorts of different things. And I really enjoy that. But when I work on a comic, I draw all day. And I don't go out in the evening to do sketches because that's a lot of drawing in a day. So it depends. So when I'm in between two books, yeah, I like to go out and do sketches, which I tell the students whenever I'm teaching that it's a good exercise to go back to the reality and sketches, because you have to reinterpret what you have in front of you and put it into a drawing. And the more you do, the more you're comfortable doing comic books after that.
So essentially, you believe that sketching and documenting from life is essential to drawing, to comic book. It really helps you, as in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For me, that's. You have to do that if you want to do comic book and to improve your drawing, because you're confronted to reality, not to another drawing that you transpose, but to reality that you have to transpose. And you have to find a way. I mean, what's your graphic way to transpose that tree, that house, the people in front of you? So that's a good exercise, and you have to keep doing that all the time when you're an artist. For me, so right now I'm finishing a book, so I'm looking forward to go out with my pen and sketch and go around and do some drawings. Mm.
Can you tell me more about this book that you just mentioned you are finishing?
Yeah, I'm just finishing a 200-page comic, and it's a biography. I wanted to do biography for a long time, and I've chosen to depict the life of a photographer in the 19th century. So that's the beginning of photography. So I explain the situation of photography when it was at the beginning and people only had one picture taken in a lifetime. And it's the beginning of cinema too, because that photographer did some shooting with a camera that he invented long time before Edison. So he's actually quite a surprising character. And yeah, I'm almost finished, and it's coming in French in September this year, and in English in 25. Yeah.
I'm already looking forward because one of the, I talked about it before. One of the most stirring books that I have read from you is Hostage. I mean, it was something that had such a deep experience. It was something that had such a deep effect on me. Reading it was such a claustrophobic experience. As I told you, according to me, it's the best book that you have done, but it's also a book that I'll be super uncomfortable reading again. Yet it's also the book that I, recommend it the most. I recommend whenever anybody asks me what's a G. Delisle book which you would recommend, Hostage is always going to be my choice. And I think a reason why it works so well is the color scheme that you have used. Like after, being in a room like forever without any hope of getting out, the interpretation that I made was eventually everything starts looking the same. The walls look the same, the floor looks the same, day in and day out. The tedium, the ennui, it's depicted very well. It's by you in that book. So I wanted to ask you, how involved were you in creating the book? Because I was sure I was so involved while reading the book that when the subject finally makes a run for it, I felt triumphant.
Yeah, the book, well, it's a depiction of Christophe's story. So I've met Christophe. He told me his experience when he was captured for 100 days. And I was trying to, when he told me that story, I was fascinated by that. I got shivers listening to his story, especially when he escaped. And the whole thing was how to transpose that feeling was to take time and to depict the routine and the everyday life and the boring life. Because if he escapes quickly, that doesn't work. So you need time, and to need time, you need pages, pages, and pages. And I wanted the reader to be in a situation where he cannot escape from the book easily. You have to turn on 200 pages, 300 pages to see what's going on after. And as a reader, I was trying to have the feeling that, yeah, it's not schizophrenic, but it's claustrophobic, like you said. And if you felt like that, well, I did a good job, and I'm glad. It's a special book for me because it talks about someone else. It talks about Christophe's story, and that was the first time I was not doing an autobiography book. And that led me to, maybe I can do a biography someday, not autobiography, but to talk about someone else was quite a relief because I like talking about myself, but there's other stories that are very interesting. And that one about the photographer I'm going to release in October was one of the story I wanted to tell for a long time. And that's why I'm looking forward to the release in October.
Most of your travel was because your partner worked with the MSF. How would you describe the experience of moving into a different country, into a different continent for varying periods of time?
Well, my first two books is my job. So I was outsourced in Asia, so North Korea and China, just for animation. And then when I start to just do comics and stop animation, my wife said maybe she can work on longer missions. So and she said now you can work abroad and wherever. I said yeah, possibly. So and then after that we start to do long mission with her, Doctors Without Border. She still works for them, but as a volunteer because she has another work now. And we've stopped doing travel like that because the kids were older, and we didn't want to travel like that all of our life. And 4 books was enough for me. I mean, I could do traveling books, I guess, for the rest of my life, but It's kind of the same. Some aspects are the same, but even the country change and I change. But I was glad to work on different books because that's what I like about comics is you can do so many different things that I want to try that and that and that. I don't do fiction, but I'm going into that direction because I've done autobiography. Now I do biography, and maybe the next one was going to be fiction. But I don't know. I like to have restrained stuff, and I work with my notes. I work with someone else's life. And fiction, it's too much freedom. I prefer to have like some kind of regulation.
I really like your style. As in, I really like how the art is detailed just enough for you to understand and not get lost into everything, because the story, the way you look at everything itself is so compelling that it just draws you in, page by page, panel by panel. Generally, when you open a book, you are supposed to drink in the art. When I open your book, the art drinks me in.
Yeah, the drawing is a balance with the text. And yeah, when you open a book, I mean, the art has to appeal to you, but it has to convey the story. And I like it in a page where the text and the drawing is kind of balanced. Like you spend the same time reading the drawing and reading the text, and they look the same. My drawing are a bit funny, my texts are a bit funny, so there's a balance. That's what I look for. And I don't want to spend a week doing a page because that's too long. I spend a day doing a page, so I need a graphic style that is faster and which I'm comfortable with. And now it's kind of stable. The style is a bit the same. So that's how it evolved. You can see the difference from Shenzhen to all the way to Jerusalem Chronicle. And yeah, I like to have different drawing as well, because when I do the escape book, the guy who escaped, it's more realistic drawing a bit. It's more like sketch stuff. Right. So it actually, I don't choose, it's kind of imposed because it's a more serious story. I'm not going to do cartoony drawings. And I like to change a bit. I have a little range that I can use, more cartoon to more realistic.
Most of the stuff which you do, you highlight small triumphs. Like in Jerusalem, I saw this sequence in particular about where you lose a car key into the elevator cracks. But you can't get it because the mechanic is not going to be coming till Monday. And then you can't get in your car and you fashion some sort of a hook. And that makes everything relatable. All of your stuff, it makes it extremely relatable because small joys, small triumphs and all. That's what I feel is the most striking about your work. You have a wide body of work, but if I were to ask one book of yours that you would like the best, which one would it be?
I think I would choose Pyongyang because it was my first real book, in the sense that the first one, like Shenzhen, was planned as short stories, and they all stick together and make a book. Whereas Pyongyang, on the first page, I knew that it would be a longer book, and it was a different approach. And that's the approach I've kept for all the other books afterwards. And it became so successful. It was translated in 27 languages. For me, it was the beginning of my career as a comic book artist. So yeah, it has something special for me.
Each and every one of your books speaks differently. We super look forward to everything else that you do. And I'm really going to get the photographer book when it comes out next year. Okay. It's been super talking to you, sir. I hope you really have a lovely time in India.
Yeah, I do. I'll come back after the book to talk it up with you.
Thank you, sir. Really hoping to and looking forward to meet you again sometime. Thank you.